What's good, everyone? I wanted to touch on this topic. As you can see on my title, my show. Now, mind you, I was supposed to do this show like last week, but some things came up. But yeah, I wanted to touch on this, and it might ruffle some feathers, cause controversy, but hey, it is what it is. It needs to be said. Now, do I believe there's division between other minority groups? Fuck yeah. There's division between other blacks within the race. You have other minority groups beefing with other minority groups to get a pat on the back from white supremacy. And that's where things get fucked up. Why are we fighting amongst each other instead of going after the main culprit, and that's white supremacy? Because it's very unfortunate that, hey Randy, how are you? Yeah, it's very unfortunate that you see, like, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and say it, fuck it. Like some of these Asians, right? Looking down on other blacks. Like, me personally, I don't have nothing against anyone. I give a fuck about a person's character. I can give two fucks about that. But you got some of these minority groups who look down on other blacks like we did something towards them. You know what I mean? We did nothing towards any of these people. They chose to drink the model minority Kool-Aid. Like they thought somehow that was going to protect them from being discriminated against. And I don't understand why some of them be tripping off of us. Because like I said, when they first came to this country back in the 19th century, and they were building railroads and shit like that, it was the dominant society discriminating against them, refusing them citizenship, despite them building the country up. Black people are not the one who try to tell them they couldn't come to this country. We're not the ones who put them in intern camps during World War II and treating them like a foreigner in their own country. We're not the ones, us blacks, we're not the ones who did that to them. But yet they got so much heat for us. That's funny how that works. Oh, and they're so forgiving when it comes to what a Caucasian do towards them. They don't have no heat for them, but they don't have no problem attacking other minority groups. They have no issue doing that. And I don't got nothing against nobody, but don't look down on me and my people, which is the fucking black race. Don't look down on us like you're better than us. Because, like I said, we ain't do nothing towards you at all. And see, it used to not be that way. There used to be solidarity between blacks and other minority groups. But they got caught up with the model minority myth. They got caught up in that shit. And the concept is racist in itself, because all it did was pin other minorities against each other by telling blacks, see, look at these immigrants, look at them, they're doing better, they keep their mouths shut, why can't you be more like them? And then the dominant society tells them, oh, you're better than blacks. See, you guys keep your fucking mouth shut, even though you guys still get discriminated against. But because you keep your mouth shut and don't protest when you're being mistreated, you're better than other minorities. You're better than other blacks. Right, Randy, I don't either. But it's just funny to me how some of them think they're better than us. You know what I mean? It's just funny that they have the audacity to look down on us when we ain't do shit towards them. And that goes for any group who they get discriminated against their damn selves, right? But they want to look down on us like we did something towards them. They don't go after, they don't give the dominant society heat the same way they do towards minorities. They don't. And the reason being, they want a pat on the back from Whitey. It is what it is. And like I said, I don't have nothing against nobody, but don't come in this bitch in our spaces looking down on us. You can't, like, how the fuck can you set up shop in our neighborhoods, right? You don't mind making money off of us, but in the same breath you look down on us when we shop in your stores? Really? But you have no, like, but you think we're beneath you, us blacks are beneath you, right? Now, I'm not going to say it's always been that way, because when Malcolm X was assassinated, who we had on his side was a Japanese lady comforting him as he's lying down, dying. So, and also, we're the reason that a law was passed back in 1965 for any of these people to even immigrate in this country. But yet, they got shit to say about us. They look down on us. Yeah, if it wasn't for us, none of these people would have been able to come to our country, though. A country that we built. Randy says, come in the chat, people sky watching. Yeah, lurkers. And actually, Randy, I was supposed to do this show like last week, but some shit came up on my end. So I'm basically doing a show that was meant to do a while ago. But yeah, I'm gonna tell you like how I operate. I go out of my way to learn from other people, other groups of people. I'm not one of these ignorant as people. Like, I don't have this mentality where, oh, every single Asian person is Chinese or Latino person is Mexican, like every single Latino. I'm not ignorant. Like, I go out of my way to learn from other people. Like, I take the time out to learn from other people. Like, if I'm not sure of a person's ethnicity or background, I will just refer to them as Latino or Asian. I'm not going to sit over here and make an assumption and be like, oh, this person is Mexican if you're Latino. Like, there's not any other group like Puerto Ricans and Dominicans, Hondurans, and shit like that. And as far as Asian people go, I don't refer to every single Asian person as Chinese. Like, I would know a person's background based off their last name. Like, if a last name starts with Nagasaki, I would automatically know that person's Japanese. That's the only way I would know. But if I'm not sure, I'll just refer to them as Asian American. And I don't treat certain group, and I don't treat them like foreigners. Like, I'm not ignorant like that. And that's another thing. Like, why would you even ride for that whole model minority myth when I know you know yourself that you get discriminated against? So why the fuck would you even ride for that fucking myth? Because as quiet as it's kept, when Asians first came to this country, they were treated like fucking pariah, like they didn't fucking belong. That's how they treated, this is how the government treated these people when they first came here. Refused to give them people citizenship. And the government actually put a law in place to exclude them from coming over here. The Chinese Exclusive Act. So how I went from that to you now, back in 1965, wanted to accept educated Asians. That's how that whole minority myth came about. Because they purposely wanted to just bring well-off Asians to this country. Hello.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, what's up, Freddie? How are you doing?
What's the show about?
Oh, as you can see, it's about, is there a division amongst minorities? And actually, I was supposed to do a show like last week. Something came up, so I decided to do this show.
Is there a difference? Is there division among
Yeah.
all minorities? The different minorities, you mean?
Yeah. Whether it's within our race, other minority groups like Asians, Latinos.
Of course, there's a
Yeah.
division. Why would there be unity among minorities?
Yeah, because it's like,
First
I
of
don't
all,
have.
there would be a culture clash, so that there wouldn't be unity because of that culture clash to begin with.
No, because I mean, we're under fucking white supremacy. Like, we're
Oh,
living under that shit.
or even because of that one thing, we should have all unity. Um, uh, Let me think long and hard. Should there be unity because of white supremacy? I'm actually one of those blacks that do not believe in white supremacy. I don't know I'm going to be called out for it. In 2021, I don't believe that there's the man holding me down. Now, do I believe there's injustice? Mm, yes. Yes and no. I don't think there's like this big organization where whites just team up and say, hey, you know what? We're just going to screw over blacks. I think it just happens in certain areas, if that makes any sense.
Well, I don't think it's a particular army group of people. It's a system, racism.
I don't even think it's a system. I don't even think it's a system. Like in this age, in this day and age, a black person, a black man or a black woman could become the president. There's really nothing holding you back. I mean, there's really not, I can't, got black mayors, governors, aldermen. I mean, you got to like point out something really specific where a white man or a white organization is like really holding back black people. And then I may say, yeah, okay, yeah, you got a point.
I mean, racism hasn't went anywhere. I mean, we're just.
All races have racists. I don't know what you mean by that.
No, what I'm saying is, I mean, we're not living in a post-racial world. We're not. We're always. It's always going to be someone judging someone based off their skin color,
Yeah,
or racial background.
of course. Yeah, that's never going to go anywhere. That's just, I don't see that going anywhere. So you could stop arguing that point. That's never going to go anywhere.
But the thing is, I respect that we're all different, but at the end of the day, I don't treat people a certain type of way based off their racial background. I judge a person based off their character.
And neither do all white people.
No, right? I mean, no. I mean, I'm not saying all white people are racist.
Mm-hmm.
But
you brought up white supremacy. I just don't believe in white supremacy.
I mean, they built this country. No offense, they built the system. They made it possible for slavery to exist. They stole the Native Americans' land.
Someone said this, right? And I hear it a lot. I hear it a lot, actually. Blacks are the minority here, all right? 12, 13%. It's been a while since I looked at the percentage. I don't think it's that bad here, right? Someone has an echo. But yeah, are you willing to leave?
Okay. Hey, Brandy, mute yourself a little. We can hear what you said, Freddie.
Are you willing to leave the USA?
I mean, that's crazy. There's no country that's perfect. I mean, even okay. Say you move to an
No, no,
African
no, no.
country.
I didn't say perfect. We're talking about percentages, right? And
I mean,
supremacy.
I'm American. Why would I leave my own country?
Because you don't have to stay here. There's no law stating that you have to stay where you're born. There's dual citizenship. You can be a Canadian, a Mexican, an Australian, but you want to be here, right? You don't want to go anywhere, right? Although you're a minority, right?
I mean, if I move, it would be my choice. I mean,
And my question is, why do you want to stay here?
that's all I know. I'm American.
So you don't want to explore, although you claim there's white supremacy here.
White supremacy is everywhere. And let's just and just to tell you about this, like, okay, even in certain countries in Africa, no, you
Hmm.
won't deal with racism. You'll just deal with tribalism, and that's a whole nother ballpark. Just that's another thing. All Africans don't accept other Africans. Yeah, they're African, but there's different tribes, and certain tribes don't get along with other tribes.
Hmm.
So you're always gonna deal with not belonging.
Well, I'm looking at the chat, but Black set the classic class. He's a small guy. I would love him to participate in this topic. But
Yeah.
yeah, I'll let Randy speak.
Yeah. Hey, Randy.
Hi, Harley.
Hi. How are
My
you?
question is, why are you putting black people alongside these other minority groups? Those are not our people. Like, why are you saying that they're black? They're not black.
I never said they were black.
You said other black people. Like, what do you mean by
No,
that?
no. I'm saying like within a race, like there's division within a race. So I was bringing up division within our race and division among other minority groups. That's all I was saying.
But you know that black people will never stick together though, because we are very tribal. Like, that's just how black people are programmed. Like, we will never stick together. So
Well, it's
why
like
would
that. Well, it's like
go
that in Africa. Like that's another thing. Like there was never any unity even before colonization and slavery. Like there was always other tribes beefing with other tribes. So there was never a so-called unity.
unity?
Yeah.
Yeah, because my family is like Nigerian, and they don't get along with certain Jamaicans and certain people from different other African continents. We are very tribal. So how can we unify with other groups of people when we can't even unify with ourselves and stuff? That was my point.
It's not about unifying. It's just this is a thing.
I'm
We're
listening.
being duped. Like we're being duped. Like the whole model minority shit was just that a fucking myth. Like all it did was just divide and conquer. It basically took focus away from the main culprit, and that's the dominant society. Like they use that whole minority myth to attack other minorities, like telling blacks, "Hey, look at these immigrants. They're able to get ahead. Why can't you guys be like them? Why see how quiet they are? They're not protesting. They're doing what they have to do. Why you can't be more like them?" And the thing is, not all Asians are doing well. That's another myth, because it was just a way to shut them up from
That's true because
protesting what they go through. Because let's be real, somebody who's a person that's from Cambodia and Vietnam, they're not gonna. How are they benefiting off of being on the minority map? Like, not all Asians are well off.
that's true because I have friends that's Asian and they're not wealthy, they're not successful, they're broker than most black people. So that's true. And also, like someone said that white supremacy didn't exist. Did you say that, Harley? Like, because I didn't hear. Like, was that you, Harley?
Wait, repeat that again?
Didn't you say like white supremacy didn't exist? Like, was that you?
No, that wasn't me.
Yeah, because I heard that in the chat. Someone said that they didn't believe in white supremacy.
I said it.
Yeah, Freddie said it.
It does exist. White supremacy does exist. Why you think they're killing black people? Why you think we have a system that's set up to oppress black people in America? White supremacy exists.
I don't think you know what white supremacy is. You're saying all white cops.
You stupid idiot. You dumb. That's a stupid statement. I'm a black man in America. I know what white supremacy is, you idiot.
I asked you a question.
You asked me a stupid question.
Do you think all white cops will kill black people and get away with it?
Of course, the majority of them do. Do you watch the news, sir? You do
have all away with shit in general.
In America. Killing niggas
for the majority of white cops will kill black people and get away with it.
Of course, the majority of them do get away with killing black people.
I don't think you understand my question.
I understand your question, but you're not making sense to me.
This is the question. I'm going to say it one more time. Right now, as we're speaking. Can all white cops, right, kill black people and get away with it? Since white supremacy exists, right?
The majority of them do get away with it.
Do you understand English?
Do you understand English, you stupid idiot?
You're really slow, man. Okay,
your mom's slow, you bitch ass nigga.
The majority of them
right? You bitch nigga. I'll break your fucking jaw, you fucking faggot.
Why are you so angry?
Ass nigga, you slow ass nigga. Oh, white supremacy doesn't exist. Let somebody kill one of your family members, you stupid motherfucker. Let a white cop blow your fucking head off. And then you're going to realize that white supremacy exists, you stupid.
How are you still alive? How are you still alive if that's a fact? I don't think you understand that. I don't think you understand.
Hey, Freddie.
You know what, man? Randy SoCal. No, I don't think you understand, man.
Freddie, hold on.
I don't think you understand statistics.
Freddie, I want to tell you who you're talking to, Freddie.
I think you do crack okay. You understand math and statistics.
You're a fucking bitch. And also keep my name out of your mouth, VW, you punk ass nigga.
VW, can I ask you this question?
I was going to.
I will beat the shit out of both of you niggas.
Yo,
you punk ass nigga, you fucking faggot ass VW, you slow ass nigga. Keep my name out of your mouth. I be hearing your bitch ass speaking on me. Oh, you don't have a mustache and stuff, nigga. Fucking faggot ass nigga. You slow ass. Nigga, shut your bitch ass up. You fucking homosexual. Keep my name out of your mouth. You don't know me, you punk ass nigga. I'm from LA. I'm not from New York. You slow ass nigga.
Your older brother.
You ass nigga. With that old cheap ass.
Okay, let's. Listen,
you gotta control your show. You gotta mute Randy.
Yeah, hey, yo, I got a bunch of haters.
You gotta mute Randy Hall. You gotta mute him.
Oh my gosh. Okay, listen, y'all. Okay, let's focus on the topic.
Let's focus on the topic. Now, feed up. I got a question for you.
I'm gonna answer it.
Right? Answer the question. He's claiming the majority of white people, right, can kill black people and get away with it. If my math is correct, how are black people still alive?
They white people are too scared. Oh, I'm sorry, baby. Hold on, give me a second. All right, come back. I don't think white people are killing
I know
black people like that.
I know he does. I'm trying to explain it to him.
Like that.
I'm trying to explain it to him, but he doesn't understand math.
Randy has a hard time understanding. You feel me?
Yeah. I'm gonna mute up so you can speak.
No, I don't want to speak. I just came up here to irritate that little nigga. But Harley, Randy said he wants to put the lotion on your skin. So yeah, be careful with that one. I'm gonna holler at y'all. I'm back in the chat.
Okay. All right. So,
but yes, I was saying, I just don't believe in this white supremacy thing where I got to look out for every white man or every white cop because you're just gonna kill me. and this is white organization. We're just gonna be found not guilty. I mean, come on, Randy. Come on, man. Put down the crack cocaine. If it's that bad, right? Cross the border into Canada. Pay the money. Apply for citizenship in Canada. And shut
Wait,
the
you
fuck
think
up.
you think they have less racism in Canada?
Look at the statistics. If it's that bad here, right? If you're claiming it's that bad here, why would you even care about how Canada is doing? Right?
I mean,
if
we
Randy
have
is right,
to. I mean, we have to. I mean, that can go for anyone. I mean, you. I mean, despite of everything, I mean, this is where we grew up. I mean, this is our home.
I mean that's a bad excuse. I mean, if you're complaining like Randy, right? If it's so bad, who the fuck is gonna stay here to die?
I mean, that can go for. I mean, it can go for a person who's in a war-torn country who can't escape, so they're stuck in the
Yeah,
shithole they're in.
right. Yeah, but this is not that. So I mean, you guys confuse me with that shit. I don't think it's bad here. I like it here. But to the people like Randy who complain, and whine and cry, it's like, shut the fuck up. There's so many other places you could go to, but you want to stay and cry.
The thing is, though, I mean, there's some. I mean, there's. I mean, the fact that we have freedoms that other countries don't have in comparison.
Mhm.
I mean, that's the good part of being American. I mean, no country is perfect. It's just like we don't have universal health care, but there's other countries who have that.
Yeah.
So you can take the good, you can take the bad in anything.
Yeah, you could take the good and take the bad, right? Yeah, but if Randy is correct, right, the majority of whites are killing blacks. Why the fuck stay here?
I mean, and some of us we
You see, the argument doesn't make any sense.
we fight
Yeah,
to want to have a better
Yeah, the argument doesn't
because
make
we
any sense.
believe in the
Hardy,
freedoms of America. Yeah.
Hardy, don't try to argue it. The argument doesn't make any sense. You guys cry for no goddamn reason. There's no white supremacy, right? I may sound like one of those coons you guys talk about, but I'm tired of hearing all this bullshit, right? Blacks kill blacks, right?
I mean,
And
if
the woman
everything was so cool, Black Lives Matter wouldn't exist. If everything was,
let's talk about black on black crime.
oh Lord, it doesn't
Black
even
kill
exist.
black
Okay,
under the
what
law
about
and
white
order.
on white crime? Like, okay, that's another thing. People tend to that it's not a thing. Like, people tend to commit crimes within close proximity to someone. So the whole black on black crime is not a thing. By that logic, white on white crime is a thing since white people commit crimes towards each other. Asians commit crimes against other Asians. I mean, nothing that blacks do is not. It's no different than what other groups of people do. A rich person is going to commit crime against a rich person. I mean,
I'm trying to look up the statistics on this. Since the white man is so bad, I'm trying to look up the statistics on all.
like when a white person go on killing sprees and shooting up places. I mean, is that white on white crime?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go to the FBI website to see. What do you think about the prison population statistics? Is that a conspiracy?
A conspiracy?
About the demographics in the USA prison population? Well, that's a whole other topic. Never mind. That's a whole other topic.
And this is the thing, okay? You can't compare a regular citizen to a person that has power than you, and that's the cop. I mean, we all know if someone commits a crime, a regular person just committing crime towards another regular person, and they get caught, we know that person's going to get punished. I mean, a cop who fucks up and abuse their power, shoot an unarmed person, I mean, it's kind of hard to prosecute them because cops have that protection.
I'm looking at the chat. Someone said, I hate Black Americans. That's funny.
I mean, so we're not in a post-racial world. If that was the case, we wouldn't see all this shit that we see on TV with unarmed people getting killed by the cops. Okay. Hey, BSC.
I'm looking at the most dangerous cities. Of course, Detroit, Flint, Michigan. Surprisingly, the cities with the most Black people. I'm looking at the most dangerous cities. Someone got an echo. But yes, hopefully Black Sector Classic Lies could explain the white supremacy and the secret organization that holds only Black people back. Only Black people, not Asians or Hispanic people, just Black people. I'm not even sure how Black people get so far with this secret organization. Hardy, can you explain that to me? Why we have our Black governors or district attorney or secretary of states?
I mean, just because this is the thing, just because a politician is Black or what have you, doesn't mean they
once again
they happen to have other people. It doesn't mean that you can't, that's another thing. You can't think just because a politician is solely Black, like they're going to have your best interests at heart.
No, you're right about that.
Politicians at the end of the day.
You're right about that. No, you're right about that. I can't even argue that point because they could be corrupt and don't have your best interest at heart. So you're right about that.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right about
so
that.
I don't go by, that's another thing, I don't go by a person's race when it comes to politics because I'm more concerned about how you're.
But the reason I ask that is because if someone hates Black people, they won't even think about what we're talking about right now. The agenda won't matter. Their political views won't matter. Right?
This is the thing though. I don't give a fuck about politicians' race. Like, I don't think just because a politician is Black, like they're automatically going to have my best interests at heart. What I care about is like, what are you doing for me that's going to fit my best interests? Like, what the fuck are you doing for me?
I want to hear what our Black sector has to say about our white
no Black sector, we can't hear you. Fix your mic.
Yeah, I want to hear what he has to say about our white supremacy and why white people are so bad. I think white people are good.
You're trolling.
No, I really think so.
Sure.
Like, you guys make it seem like white people are so bad. Like, every time we leave the house,
I'm not saying. Listen, no one. No one's saying white people are bad. What we're saying, why is it if we tell bigots, listen, treat people how you would treat anyone else. What's wrong with telling people to?
You want to hear something that's going to piss you off? I was never ever treated bad by a white person.
Can you hear
Okay,
me?
that's your
Now that may
experience.
sound crazy to you. That may sound, maybe it's because I'm not an ignorant black person. Maybe that's the
Well,
reason.
I dealt with both sides. Like I have been cool with cool ass white people, and I also have experienced racism from them. So
Can you hear me?
yeah, we can hear
Yeah,
you.
yeah, I'm gonna mute up. What's up, Black Sector?
Hey, what's up, man? I can say this, like, I understand a little bit of where Freddie's coming from. When if you're a black person who's never experienced overt white supremacy, then you're just not going to be. It hasn't personally affected you, but at the same time, you shouldn't be ignorant to the fact that white supremacy exists. Like, for example, if you want an example, I can give you an example of white supremacy. It's like the justice system. You can go to like many articles in many websites. I have a few. I could show you the link where it'll show that blacks are 5 times more likely to be arrested than white people for X amount of crime. Well, why is that? That's because the police are over policing black people more so than white people. That's a statistic.
Facts.
And then that is a statistic right there. That's an FBI statistic. And so what I'm saying is when you have police over policing black people and then arresting black people and then providing you statistics that show that blacks are committing this, doing that. Well, that doesn't mean that blacks are more criminal than white people. It just means that the police are arresting blacks more than white people. So those statistics are all bullshit because those statistics are based off of racial profiling. And statistics, by definition, should be random. And the fact of the matter is, racial profiling is the opposite of random. So every statistic that you see about black crime is basically propaganda because of the fact that the police do not randomly stop people. They do not randomly police people. They target people. There was an article in the New York Times where the police were actually policing the subway stations and they were actually catching people who were jumping the turnstiles. Lo and behold, they were catching a lot of whites and Asians, more so than blacks. And guess what happened? They were told to stop doing that. So does this mean now that statistically speaking, whites and Asians are less likely to jump stiles more so than blacks? No, it just means that the police are not actually doing their job and randomly getting people. They are profiling people. And when you profile people, by definition, that can never be a statistic. So every statistic that you show that show black people in a bad light, like we do this, we do that, we do this, we do that, where all these bad things, well, no duh. When you're policing one group of people overly compared to all the other races, we're going to be the worst of the worst when it comes to every single crime. And the idea of black on black crime is total bullshit because no one says anything about white people. White people have killed over 60 million of their own kind in
Exactly.
2 world wars. In 2 world wars, they killed over 60 million of their own kind. White on white genocide, whatever you want to call it, and many more. And no one ever, and white people never once said, gee, we got to do better. Or white people never said, well, this is why white people, you will never find a white person anywhere online when you have like a white mass shooting or something like that. It is hard to find a white person anywhere who's going to look at that event and say, this is why white people ... You won't find that amongst white people or any other race of people other than black people. When you got black on black crime, then it's, oh, well, this is why black people. And so my question to people who say anything about black on black crime, what number is acceptable for you? The only number that will be acceptable for someone to talk about black on black crime is 0. Well, that's unfair. That's an unfair standard to put on black people to say, you guys got to commit no crimes. You guys can't do this. Well, it's human nature to kill. It's human nature to steal. Even in Japan, people are arrested for murder that are Japanese, and they're one of the most lowest crime countries in the fucking world. But yet they still got murderers, they still got thieves, they still got the whole list of motherfuckers that are doing bad shit. And it's just one of those things that it's just used as propaganda. The whole black on black crime thing is just a fear tactic that blacks use because they don't want to address the elephant in the room. Yes, we do live in a white supremacist system. It's just built, it's just the way it is.
Yeah.
Now, does the white supremacist system affect every single black person? No, it doesn't. There are some blacks that can go through life and never experience racism and only get the best that this nation is supposed to produce. You can run into good white people and you can just have a life that is devoid of racism. Because just like you, Freddie, I can honestly say, hey, man, I've never been involved with the police. I've never had any kind of confrontation like that or anything like that. You know, but that doesn't mean that I'm going to be ignorant to the fact that white supremacy exists just because it hasn't brutalized me. I understand that it's brutalizing other black people. And it's a built-in system. Like I said, the whites are not unified. People think that whites have unity and all this other shit. They don't. Whites are one of the most confrontational groups of people on the face of the earth. Like I said, they would kill their own kind. They would kill their own kind. White America bombed the holy hell out of Nazi Germany, which is considered one of the most whitest of white countries because the whole Aryan bullshit. But they don't care. Whites will slaughter whites like it's nothing. But you know what they do have? They have a fucking code. They have a code, which I respect, because the fact of the matter is, you can go to an all-white jury, and these 12 whites are all from different points of life. But when it comes to convicting a black man, they're on code. And the system is on code for that. And that code is white supremacy. It's not necessarily an aggressive thing. I mean, if you want to see like aggressive white supremacy, you look at Nazi Germany or the Confederacy of the South. But if you want to see a more subtle, modern, 21st century white supremacy, you look at the United States, South Africa, or Israel. In South Africa, you got 90% blacks and you got 90% blacks and 10% others. And yet the whites control the economy there. They control all that shit. All the difference is that they don't just do what they did in the past and have apartheid and say, nigger this, nigger that, you can't come here, you can't come there. They got rid of all the social shit, but the economic and I guess what you would call political power is in the hands of the whites, the same as it is here. I don't care if you got a black president. The black president knows his fucking place. There's actually no black governors in this country. So, but you do have black congressmen, all that shit. They all know their place. They're all handpicked. It's not by, they don't get there by accident. So you can't take the absolute approach that white supremacy doesn't exist. Oh, it exists. It has to exist. If white supremacy didn't exist, this nation would just be a different place. But it exists all over the world. And I think that if you look at specific examples, that is. And what's even worse is that when people say, well, if you don't like it, leave it. My thing is, okay, I'll leave. But are you going to pay for it? Pay for it. Pay for the...
Yeah, it's not that simple to just immigrant to another country. It's not that simple.
Right. But my thing is, okay, I'll leave, but you're going to have to pay for it. You're going to have to pay for my potential income. You're going to have to pay for all the taxes I pay. You're going to have to pay for all that shit. And you're going to have to give me all that shit. And once you give me all that shit, okay, I'll leave. But I'm not even in that position per se to even want to ask them for anything. I'm just saying that I would never ask them for anything. But I'm just saying that whenever I hear conservatives say that, well, if you don't like it, leave. It's like, why don't you leave? You keep saying
exactly. Like, why the fuck do we have to leave somewhere that we've been here for centuries? These motherfuckers complain about minorities taking over, so-called taking over. It's like, bitches, why won't you fucking leave this country?
And that's my thing. You always hear that. They always say, well, leave. It's like, wait a minute. I thought America was about liberty, freedom of speech. If these things offend you, then maybe you should be leaving. Because if you want me to stop, well, then that's no different than like Nazi Germany or communist Cuba or wherever else you want to say that's so bad. You know, well, it's like, okay, if you want me to shut up, you get offended by what I say. It sounds like you're not really that American. It sounds like the whole freedom of speech and all that bullshit doesn't apply to me, which that's the whole thing. It's like the whites who come out and talk about the Second Amendment. Oh, Second Amendment this, Second Amendment that. Yeah, but when it comes to black people, it's like, oh, no, we can't have that. You know,
that's another thing that's true. Listen, they love throwing that Second Amendment shit around, right? But for some reason, if a black person wants to protect their family and be armed, all hell break loose. Can't do that.
And that's always my thing about it. It's like I get what Brady's saying. Like, hey man, I'm tired of hearing about white supremacy because if it doesn't affect you, like I said, for me, it doesn't affect me. Like for me, I'll probably get more static from black people than I do white people. That's just the fact. But however,
that's my situation.
Right, but however, I don't allow my personal situations blind me from the world of reality. So I understand. For me, I'll have more conflict with blacks than I do whites. That's my personal life. But my personal situation should not become my own like. I wouldn't just blind myself to that. I understand what it is, but I wouldn't just say, okay, because I'm in this situation, that's how it is for everybody, and whites are good. Like, no, we still live in a fucked up system. We still live in an unjust system. And yeah, a cop can kill a black person and basically get away with, not all the time. No, of course not. This is a nation that has to pretend like there is some kind of justice. So they are going to, prosecute some cops. They are going to do that just to keep a face. But at the end of the day, when you get that all-white jury, you best believe they're going to be on code and get that fucking cop off. That's why they still talk about O.J. Simpson. Like I said, if they believe in justice and all that bullshit that they spew, then O.J. is innocent. He was proven innocent by his peers and all that other shit. But they don't believe that. They believe he's guilty, and they did everything they can to get that guy back. Now, I don't like O.J. I'm using it as an example of the hypocrisy of this social justice system, which is rooted in white supremacy, which is why it's a hypocrisy, obviously. I mean, white supremacy is illogical, but it does exist. And, and to deny that it exists, it's like denying history, because even like you have white supremacists like Adolf Hitler, who actually commented on the United States. He actually admired the United States' white supremacy because United States had laws, immigration laws, that stopped the immigrants coming over from Asia and curbed the amount of immigrants coming from Southern and Eastern Europe, but had unlimited number of immigrants coming from Northern and Western Europe. This is a fact. And Hitler even said, hey, this is a brain drain of the Germanic race. The Americans are taking the best of the white race and building up their nation. And then he said, because of this, that's why Americans were able to expand westward, industrialize, and blah, 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 blah. The point of the matter is, if Hitler was able to realize that the United States is the ultimate white supremacist nation, which is why he wanted war with the United States, because he felt like it should be a showdown between the two great white powers, Germany and the United States. If he's willing to recognize the United States as a white supremacist nation, what kind of argument can you make against that? And he's considered one of the ultimate white supremacists.
Right. And it's like, for me, when it comes to white supremacy, a person can say, you know what, I never experienced that, but I think it's naive to think just because you personally haven't experienced something to say, oh, it doesn't exist. I mean, that's like saying, it's like saying, oh, I never experienced a person stealing from me. So because it didn't happen to me, it hasn't happened to other people.
Okay, let me ask you this, Black Sector.
What's up?
Out of all the countries on planet Earth, would this be the best country for blacks to reside in? I think it's between this one and Canada, people said.
Well, for me personally, I think one of the best countries for blacks to reside in is Vietnam. Personally speaking, I mean, Vietnam.
Vietnam.
Yeah, Vietnam. And I say personally for me.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I say personally for me, but it's because I researched it. I've been there. If white supremacy ever closed ranks, right, and I had to go somewhere, that's one of the countries I'd probably go to, because the standard of living might not be equal to the United States or Canada, but the freedoms there as a black man, even though you're a foreigner, you're somewhat equal to the population, and it's not judged by your race. Like, you can actually go to YouTube and you can you can actually see blacks living in Vietnam, and you can actually hear their stories, and they'll tell you, yeah, it's a poor country in some ways, but it's the kind of freedom you have here is unlike anything you can get in the United States. So to me, the country that I would go to would be Vietnam. But between your question, between Canada, yeah, Canada's okay, I guess.
It's funny because you didn't state like a majority black country. Why not a majority black country?
I'm gonna tell you another country in Africa that heard nothing but the good things, and that's Botswana.
No, I want to know why Black Sector didn't state a majority black country.
Okay, I can answer that. I can answer that. Well, okay. The thing is, it's a two-step thing. trying to think, how could I say this to make sense? But there aren't too many countries that has fought white supremacy and beat them. And the fact of the matter is, I respect countries that fight white supremacy. And unfortunately, the only country that I know of that not only fought white supremacy, but fought them 3 fucking times, the French, the Americans, and the British, was Vietnam. And I respect that. Every other country, black, brown, I don't give a fuck, whatever, they've all acquiesced to white supremacy. And I respect the fact that the Vietnamese people were willing to sacrifice their entire nation and their entire population to tell the West, the whites, to fuck off. Now, if there was a black nation anywhere in Africa that did that, I would probably name that country. But unfortunately, all of Africa is either colonized by China or the West. They either look up to China or the West. And that goes for all of them.
Yeah, you're right about that. Even in like in the West Indies, same thing.
And my thing is, if I want to be around that, I might as well stay here. If I want to be around people who are acquiescing to white supremacy, I might as well just stay here. But if I have to, if they close ranks tomorrow and say, okay, get the fuck out, the country that I would go to will be the only country that successfully resisted white supremacy and beat their ass handily, and that's Vietnam. And the Americans had all the tanks, all the planes, all that shit, and it didn't fucking happen. And it didn't fucking matter. The Vietnamese still beat them back with a bunch of fucking AK-47s, a bowl of rice, and a bunch of fucking holes dug in the ground. And they beat the shit out of the fucking Americans. And to me, they're one of the few only heroes in this whole world story. So yeah, I would go there only because of the fact that they successfully beat back white supremacy, which is headed by the United States, mind you. It's the vanguard of white supremacy, the United States. And the Vietnamese put them in their fucking place and bless them for it.
I'm gonna tell you another country who kicked their asses out of their country, but unfortunately, to this day, they're still paying for what the fuck they did centuries ago, and that's fucking Haiti. I mean, they should be better off, but the French had them paying money to them, made them in debt, and then of course you had the United States occupying Haiti, and that's why Haiti is fucked to this day. I mean, Haiti should be farther along as a nation. I mean, they were the first to successfully kick the French out.
Yeah, that's facts. What someone said in the chat about the Philippines, that's true too. The Philippines is also one of those other countries that's very, I'd say, it's hard to say, even though they didn't really resist white supremacy, they do have a strange relationship with like black folks. They actually like black folks in the Philippines. So that's actually true. But yeah, I agree with you, Harley.
Yeah, and also Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the only country that really wasn't colonized. Everyone else was colonized.
No, they were colonized in 1936. They got
the Italians, but the point, I mean, it wasn't long. I mean, for the most part, they then kicking it on their own.
Yeah, they were. I mean, Ethiopia was one of the few that were, but they were invaded by the Italians, and I tell you, the Ethiopians, they love that shit now. They love the fact that they got that Italian blood in them now. But that's a whole different story. I shouldn't even get into that. But like I said, there's very few countries that have successfully resisted white supremacy and sees them as the monsters that they are. And that's why I would honestly pick Vietnam. I mean, yeah, it's a poor country, and I'd have to have a lower standard of living, but I don't care. I'd rather have a lower standard of living and be free than have a high standard of living and not necessarily live in fear, but have to see a lot of bullshit around me that just isn't cool. If this is the United States where it's all about freedom and the Constitution and all other bullshit, then we shouldn't be having a discussion about white supremacy at all. But we are, because it still exists.
Yeah.
I just think I just don't believe in it. I just think it's natural as a minority. We're just going to see it that way, obviously. What do you think about that statement, Black Sector?
That doesn't exist?
No. that it doesn't really exist, but we're always going to see it that way since we're the minority. We're just going to see that group as above us. They make the rules, and we're just not equal.
Well, that's the reality. I mean,
Yeah, that's the reality.
but that is white supremacy, though. But so you can't just say, well, it's not white supremacy, but then we say they make the rules, they do this, they do that. Well, all that shit that they do,
Okay.
that is white supremacy.
Okay. Well, let's agree. It's white supremacy. Is it bad? Although that's just how it is.
Is it bad? Okay.
Well-
Personally, honestly, why the fuck do us black people? Why do we even have to be perfect? Why can't we have flaws? Why does it seem like if one black person fucked up, like the whole race is fucked up? Like, you see how white people are able to be individuals, right? We don't say shit like, oh, this is a reflection of all white people. Like, they're allowed to have flaws and shit.
That's a con of being 11%, and that's what I'm trying to say. It's just statistics. I mean, you can't really fight it. I mean,
What? But you can't find statistics because those statistics are built on propaganda and lies. They're not real statistics. I already said that. If they're not random, by definition, it's not a statistic. Statistic is a random group of events. I mean, it's random numbers. There's nothing random about racial profiling.
no, she's asking. Holly, state your question again. You're asking why people do that, right? And
Yeah,
I'm
like,
saying because we're so small.
no,
and
I mean,
and you're asking why the bigger group could have their own like personalities, right?
yeah, like why does it seem like
I mean,
if
you're
one black
answering your own
person fucked
question.
up, why does it have to be a reflection to the
I think you're answering your own
entire black
question.
race? Like, why do we even have to be perfect? No one else has to.
I don't know about the last part about no one else has to, but
Can I ask Freddie a question?
yeah, go ahead.
Okay, let me ask you a question. If you believe that white supremacy doesn't exist, then why is it that there were laws passed to keep blacks from certain professions, to keep blacks out of colleges?
Exactly.
And you had a whole century of keeping blacks in a place below white people on record. That was their policy. And you retarded the black growth for over 150 years. Now, why would they do that to a group of people who are truly inferior?
Are we talking about racism now, or
No. Well, it's racism, and it's part of the topic.
that is racism? Yeah, I believe in that.
Well, no, but what is racism, though? Racism is if you look up the definition of racism, it's the ideology that one race is superior to another.
Yep.
So what I'm asking you is, again, I'll ask it again. Why would they do that then if we're so inferior?
That's a good question. So you said why would they keep us out of certain things if we're inferior?
Right.
Because they want to keep. Because you want to know why? Because they want to. They want to remain on top. They feel like if they give minorities equal chance, then that somehow is hurting them. They love being in the position that they're in.
I mean, I'm asking you this question, Freddie, because it's basically like, hey, if we're so inferior and we're so fucked up and we're just so bad, then why do they go out of their way to over police? Why do they go, like, for example, if I believe that blacks were inferior, if I'm a white guy and I believe that blacks were inferior, I have the same policy that I would have, like, just let them be. They're so inferior, they can't help themselves. They'll eventually collapse and fall anyway. If they're
I see your point now.
they're so inferior that we can get them to test and they'll just fail anyway. They're so inferior that if we gave them the same education as white folks, it wouldn't even fucking matter because they're so inferior they can never compete. But it seems like they've done everything to prevent that competition from happening. Now, this is supposed to be a country about free competition and all that other bullshit, but it seems like for the past 150 years, they've done everything they can to keep blacks from competing. The same thing they did with the Jews. So I'm asking, why would they do that if we're so inferior and there's
It's a mind fuck because they know our capability. If we truly knew who the fuck we are,
and actually believed in ourselves
But black sector,
and know our history.
a white person could ask you, right? Hey, none of that is happening now. You could apply to any college. I mean, they're not supposed to deny you because of race,
Well,
right?
Well,
But
I would say this. I would say you're right. But
yeah,
let's check the statistics. Let's see if that's actually true. Now, we know right now in this discussion we're having that
mhm.
there are blacks who are being denied certain, I want to say privileges, but economic privileges like bank loans, these kind of things. We know that already. You could be a black man with the greatest idea in the fucking world and go in for a fucking bank loan and they'll deny it to you, but yet you could be a white guy and you'll probably get it. Like, we know that. And what I'm saying is that to me is white supremacy, because white supremacy is racial, but it's also about competition. If you can exclude an entire group from particular professions, then the other people have a better chance of becoming those professions. I look at documentaries from like the 50s and 60s, and I see all these white guys at like NASA and Lockheed Martin, and all these aerospace and all these great things. And I tell myself, how come there's no blacks there? It's not as if blacks are stupid and dumb in the 1960s, 1950s, 1940s, 1930s. No, but it's the fact that when you deny people for generations upon generations all the same accesses of intellectual capital that the other group isn't hindered by, then
And that's where I gotta disagree with you on, because I looked into that too, right? And there's a good book on this, so called The Bell Curve. I encourage everyone to read The Bell Curve. And what you're getting into is actually statistics. And if you look at the amount of blacks in the USA and the amount of blacks who would probably even study aeronautics, right, to even get into NASA or whatever, that's why you're not seeing as many blacks in that profession. Wouldn't you agree on that?
halfway agree, because even though I agree that, yeah, statistically speaking, that is true, but then I have to look at it and ask myself, well, why is that the case? Why is that
And
the case?
then my reply is, there are people like, okay, look at Power, right?
Who?
They are great black people
Who?
who just Power, your
Powell?
former secretary.
Oh, yeah.
They're like great black people. Look at Rice. They are great black people. We can't forget them and then try to play the victim. They are great black people that exist, and we have no excuse to make, right?
Yes and no, but again, those people are like, my thing is, yeah, but where was the Colin Powell in the 1940s? I'm pretty sure that Colin Powell existed, but that Colin Powell couldn't even get into a fucking university. That Colin Powell couldn't even get into anything in the 1940s. And that's my thing, is that these Colin Powells, these Condoleezza Rices, these first black this or first black that, they have existed since the beginning of this fucking country. But they've been held back up until very recently. Now we can have the first black this and first black that. And it's so fucking embarrassing that we have to even say the first black this and the first black that, when we should really be saying this is the first black who had overcome white supremacy. That should really be the full thing, not the first black mayor or the first black this. No, this is the first black who was allowed a privilege that was enjoyed by the same population of white people that was able to become the Secretary of State or Secretary of Defense or whatever the case is. But don't pretend like it's just recently that blacks got this in them. Blacks have always had this in them. They've had it since the creation of this country and before. And yet they've been denied systematically for decades upon decades upon decades. And then eventually, once you open up the curtain a little bit, yeah, you're going to have some good, quote unquote, good blacks who are going to flood in. But I don't say, well, we had Colin Powell, so we're doing good. No, we're not, because we should have had Colin Powell 100 years ago. The fact that we have Colin Powell now is a shame. That's a shame. That's not something to be proud of. The fact that Colin Powell existed in the year 2000. Where was Colin Powell in the 1940s when the Americans were fighting the Nazis, telling us how bad the Nazis were and how racist the Nazis were? But do you know that the Nazis actually had integrated racial units within their formations before the United States desegregated their armies? That's a fact. You had black Nazis, you had Arab Nazis, you had Asian Nazis, all fighting for the Nazis during World War II. But yet the United States didn't have this up until 1947, well, after World War II, when they desegregated and shit. So my thing is, yeah, Colin Powell, Condoleezza Rice, yeah, that's great. But that's a shame, the fact that it took the year 2000. That's a shame.
Embarrassing.
That's
It
nothing to
really
be
is.
proud of at all. Every time I hear the first black this and first black that, I get disgusted at that. That's disgusting. The fact that we have to actually say this is the first black whatever. No, this isn't the first black whatever. There were many other blacks who were capable and had the same potential. They were just never given that ability because there was a system in place to keep them down so that a white person could get that position. So
And, I'm glad you made that point because this goes back to Harley's point that she thinks like we're the only minority group that's being penalized. Black sector. What was the name of that? A Supreme
No,
Court
I never
judge?
thought that. No, I never thought that. What
What's
I'm
her name
saying
again?
is,
The Hispanic one.
I
What's her
didn't
name? Black sector. There's the Supreme Court judge. I
hear.
think.
So
Sonia.
Yeah, she was the first one, right?
is she the first? Yeah, I think so. She may
She was
be
the first one. Yeah, and we've been had a black person in there. I forgot his name.
It was Thurgood Marshall, I believe. That was
Yeah.
the first black one in 1950s.
Yeah. So I don't know. I just don't really agree with where it is being shitted on for no apparent reason.
No, what I'm saying is, I'm talking about like other minorities. Like they look down on us like we are inferior, like we did something personally to them, like we oppressed them, like we're not the ones. And this is directed at Latinos or Asians who feel that way about us blacks. It's like we didn't do nothing towards them.
See,
We're not.
I was gonna say that's the part I have to disagree with you on when it comes to other minorities. We as black people shouldn't give a damn about other minorities. We have to accept the fact that's just an L and just let it fucking go. At this point, just let it fucking go. There are some black people out there and minorities who are better off under the system of white supremacy than being anything else. There are other minorities who will fight for the system than anything else because they need it. And I understand that, but that's just what I'm saying. You just got to let them go. I'm not even interested in trying to have anything to do with any minorities in any context when it comes to white supremacy.
But yeah, even like during this whole COVID shit, right? When they were experiencing hate crime, they were being attacked because ignorant motherfuckers were accusing them of bringing COVID in this country, even though these people never stepped foot in fucking China, but they got treated like a goddamn foreigner in their own country. And yet they say, some of them, they were like, oh, you guys need to defend us when they're fighting for their rights. And I'm like, I mean, it goes both ways. You guys should defend us where our Black Lives Matter. You see what I mean?
Yeah, but they should defend us. If it's not in you, it's not in you. And if it's in you, it's in you. And what we don't need is people trying to do something where it's not in them. And I've seen so many times with Black Lives Matter, which I don't agree with. I've seen so many times with Black Lives Matter, you have all these little figureheads who's doing all this fuck shit because it's not in them, but they're pretending and projecting something that they don't feel at their heart. It'd be like, and this isn't a shot at Freddie, but it'd be like Freddie being the head of the Black Lives Matter movement. That'd be pretty fucked up because of his views on Black Lives Matter. But that's exactly what you have right now at Black Lives Matter. You have a lot of people who don't have it in them. And if you don't have it in you, let it go. And that's the thing. We're trying to force people who don't have it in them to want to fight. And they don't want to fight. Fine, don't.
No, it's not about forcing them. I'm just saying on my end, right? These people, they, you know how it is, because we experience discrimination, right? They'll tell us like we have to stick our necks out, right? They'll tell us, oh, you should fight for us because of what we're experiencing. And what I'm saying is, okay, it goes both ways. You want us to stick our necks out for y'all, but what the fuck are y'all doing for us as well? I mean,
yeah, that's just you know.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and in that case, you just it's just bullshit. I mean, I just be like, yeah, okay, whatever. I mean, you guys can fight your own fights. I mean,
Like, I'm
But
totally like, don't get me wrong. I mean, that was fucked up what they, had to experience. I mean, but it's like, I mean, but you all want us and fight for your cause. It's like, are you guys going to fight for our cause as well? I mean, I have no problem doing that if if it's going to go both ways.
well, I would have a problem doing it because we've already done it in the past before. We've done it in the 60s, 70s, and 80s with the Hispanics and with the Asians back then, and it didn't do us any good today. So we've already have a track record of helping other groups of people.
Yeah, we have done it before. It's been done before.
So to keep trying to even attempt to do it again, that's just insanity. Just leave it. I just personally, I would just leave it alone. Say, fuck it. You are who you are. Go, just do your thing. You handle it the way you handle it. I'll handle it the way I handle it. Now, when it comes to white supremacy, I handle it in a way where I consider it a personal war, but I don't. But I prepare myself for it in a financial way. And I think that every black person, if you want to fight white supremacy, you don't do it by complaining to white people, saying white people be less racist. No. You accept them for who they are. My thing is, you want to be independent from white supremacy, you have to be financially independent from white supremacy. That's why I told Freddie that if I had to pick a country, I'd pick Vietnam, because I have enough where I can, if they close ranks tomorrow, okay, I'm gone, but I can pick up my life, make the money I'm making now, and keep it fucking pushing. But that's because I've made myself financially independent from the system of white supremacy, so that the money that I get, it's not based on any white approval whatsoever. I don't need a white man or white woman or white institution to bestow upon me a job or anything like that. I've become financially independent because of the fact that I view white supremacy as an existential threat. Personally speaking, that's how I think. And so when I think like that in a constant state of war, I prepare myself financially to become independent so I can fight that war on my own terms and not their terms. You got a lot of black people trying to fight white supremacy, and yet they're dependent upon white supremacy. They're accountants, they work for the government, they do all these things, yet they want to fight against white supremacy. I'm sorry, you can't fight against white supremacy. You just can't. You can't fight a system that you're dependent on. And there's a lot of black people dependent on white supremacy as a system, financially speaking, and that are going to tell you, oh, I'm going to fight against white supremacy. No, you're not. You're just going to be a tool that's going to be used in the end to be against black people, like Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter is the biggest tool that's used against black people. It's a propaganda coup for whites.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and that's why I would tell people to be careful of. Don't fall for the bullshit. Don't get me wrong. They're doing a very clever job with the PSYOPs. Can you hear me? Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we can hear you.
They're doing a very clever job with Black Lives Matter. But at the end of the day, white supremacy is such an evil system. No matter how many tools, no matter how many shows that they put up there, it doesn't matter. As long as it's here, there'll always be some kind of resistance. It's an ugly system. So it's always going to be there. And if it didn't exist, it'd be hard for it not to exist. It has to exist in order for America to get where it got to. There's no other way. It has to exist for its own sake. And that's not me saying that as a black person. I'm just saying that, hey, as a white person, they know it exists. That's how they created their unions. That's how they created all their wealth. They created their wealth from the Homestead Act to the GI Bill to the Leavenworth suburbia. They built their wealth at the expense of keeping black people financially, economically, and generational wealth speaking down. That's the only way they could have grown. That's the only way any country could grow. Honestly, is by having a group of people that are excluded from I call it like intelligentsia professions, like the engineers and all these other things.
Yeah.
And someone asked me if I think Jesus is white. I'm not a person who believes in God like that. So that's an irrelevant question. That's like asking if Muhammad is anything. Even though Muhammad was a real person, but I'm not really a religious person like that. So it doesn't really matter to me if Jesus was black or white. It's been usurped by Europeans anyway, Christian values. So it doesn't even matter anymore.
I mean, if you believe in the Bible, I mean, Jesus was described as having woolly hair, and I mean, so it can Jesus can't be white if you believe that story in the Bible.
Yeah, it's just a story. And like I said, I mean, I don't have anything against Christians or anything. In fact, out of all the religions, that's probably one of the only ones I respect. But in terms of debating around not Jesus is black or white, I think it's irrelevant. But then again, I mean, religion for black people, I think it's like the worst thing in the world. I think that blacks who are religious are just like fucking, I don't know. I'm not gonna say they're insane, but I just don't understand that. That's the part I don't understand. Why are black people believing in any God? Especially if you're a Muslim. I never understood black Muslims. Those are the ones that confuse me the worst. And I hate black Muslims. I mean, I hate Muslims. Sorry. You know, what they did to black people is fucking disgusting compared to the Christians. That is, the white Christians. The Arab Muslims have a particular hatred for black people, which is why the whole minority bullshit I don't really prescribe to, because I've been around Arabs and I know how they feel about blacks, and including their fucking prophet Muhammad. He hated black people. That's why he enslaved black people. That's why they did an Arab slave trade, and they would take blacks from Africa, cut their balls off, and send them to fucking Saudi Arabia. And it wasn't until the 1960s until Saudi Arabia stopped slavery. It literally took John F. Kennedy to say, "Hey, we'd like to buy your oil, but you can't have black slaves. Please stop doing slavery." And the Saudis were like, "Okay, fine. If it means we're gonna make billions of dollars, we'll stop African slavery." And that's when it fucking stopped in Saudi Arabia. It was in the 1960s, and people don't know that. But
oh yeah, I been knew that. In fact, Arab slavery was way before Europeans decided to take in slaves.
And it was 10 times worse because Muhammad, their prophet, had a particular hatred for the dark-skinned African. Unlike, like, you can say that about Jesus. Like, Jesus never had a particular hatred for the dark-skinned African, but Muhammad himself, their prophet, had a particular hatred for the African, which is why they, the Arabs, the Muslims, justify African slavery, particularly African slavery. And even when they would go to battle with the white, the only whites that they captured were white women, and they would send white women back to the harems in like Turkey and shit to become whores and fuck them and everything and have like mixed kids and everything, which is how the Moor Empire fell. The Moorish Empire fell because of their lust for fucking white women.
All right.
But like I said, that to me is the greatest evil. Is like Islam. You look at Africa and you see how these African countries are killing each other in the name of fucking Islam. That makes sense to me because that's what Islam is meant to be for the African. It's meant to destroy the African. That's why Africa is in the hellhole that it is now because of Islam. And that's another reason why I would never move to Africa as a black man, because of that religious bullshit. There's no way I'm going to go from white supremacy to Islamic supremacy. Bullshit.
In general, though, even before, Christianity and Islam, I mean, naturally, we are like superstitious. Like, we even have our own traditional African religions prior. I mean, we always been superstitious.
I believe in myself, in my own abilities, and my own foresight. Can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. So what I was saying was, they even, like the Arabs, they even have a derogatory name they call us, a bead or some shit in Arabic.
One of the names they called us, which was designed specifically for us, was Kafirs.
Kafirs, that's what white South Africans refer to black South Africans, Kafirs.
Yeah, and they got it from the Arabs.
Yeah.
or the Muslims, I should say. I don't want to say that about all Arabs. It's just that a lot of Arabs are Muslim, but it's really Islam. That's the issue. Is that it's Islam, and a lot of Arabs happen to be Islamic. But that's why I'm saying that to me is a great evil for black people. And you'll have black Muslims who will be like, "Oh yeah, I'm a black Muslim. Muhammad this, Muhammad that." It's like, wait a minute. Muhammad had a particular hatred for dark-skinned Africans. He made his whole thing about cutting the balls off of Africans so that they wouldn't breed with the Arab women as slaves. Now, the Europeans, as sick as they were, they at least weren't that sick.
Yeah. I mean, the majority of Africans who were brought to this country, they were either already Muslims or practicing their brand of religion. Really.
Is that Freddie? Is Freddie back?
Yeah. If Freddie, are you there? Are you...
Yeah, that's me. Black sector is right about the whole Islam thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Studied Islam for like 5 years, and yeah, he's right about that.
I have black Muslims in my family, so I had to endure it to a certain extent until I started reading and learning more about it, and then that's when I got disgusted by it. I mean, I had to read the Quran, and the more I read the Quran, just the more pissed I got at it, and I got more pissed not at the Quran itself, but I got more pissed at the fact that blacks aren't understanding it. You know, like you read it, and then it's like, my God, this is like reading Mein Kampf or something. You know,
Yeah.
and it's like, but blacks just, I just don't get it, man.
well, I grew up Christian. So, and I never even read the Quran entirely.
Well, I had half and half. Half of my family, they're Christians. The other half, I guess they call them black Muslims. But I mean, I read it more so just for my own digestion. But you know, it's just one of those things that's probably that's the second, probably the biggest reason why I would never move to an African country like that, because I'm not dealing with that kind of religious bullshit. I'm just not going to do it, man. And you know, if I say this shit in like, you know, Nigeria or something like that, I'll be fucking killed, which that's fine. I'll take a lot of those motherfuckers out with me. It is what it is, but I'm not trying to do that, you know?
You ever notice the difference though? Like, if you notice, like in the concept of Africa in itself, right? They're all like either Christians or Muslims, but you notice like even you notice like even in the European countries who brought those religions, like you ever notice they're now becoming more non-religious, while the whole concept of Africa is like super duper religious. You ever notice that?
But yeah, I notice it, and that's just the way that they conquered them. And like I said, the Africans are a conquered fucking people. They're either conquered by the European or by the Asian. And like I said, that's just, you know, you're trading in one supremacy for another. And, you know, it's just, I just get so fucking tired of it, because it pisses me off that the African isn't trying to utilize their own resources for their own selves. They're selling it to the highest bidder. And the highest bidder is either European or Asian.
It's the same way in other countries, though. In most majority black countries, you're gonna find that more of the blacks are Sunni Muslims, and I would say the other 40% are Christians, mostly Catholic.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. And I just don't get it. I mean, that shit just has me fucking confused like a motherfucker. Like, that's one of the things that I would have to ask somebody who's like, and I've had this discussion with black Muslims too. So, but I still never get a straight answer, you know, because what I'm saying isn't my opinion. You know, this is just history. This is their history. The thing about Islamic history is that, for all intents and purposes, it's pretty much current. You know, it didn't happen. It happened long ago, but not that long ago. So you can kind of parse the history of it together and see just how it was. I mean, these people just had an intense hatred for the Africans. I don't know. I mean, I guess they had their reasons why, but I mean, when the prophet of your religion hates a particular race, blacks, and you got black people running around talking about Muhammad, naming their kids Muhammad, I just want to fucking. That's when I feel like, as black people, we're fucking done. And that's why I have the mentality of, you just get the small number of blacks that think like you, and that's the best you can do. But to try to reach out to a lot of brain dead, brainwashed blacks, particularly fucking Muslims, is a worthless fucking cause. You let them go the way of white supremacy or wherever the fuck else you want them to go. Let them go their way. Those are the blacks that I don't want to fucking deal with, don't want to talk to, don't want to have any interaction with because they're fucking clueless.
I mean, like I said, like for me, like I'm not affiliated with any particular religion. I mean, I respect people having certain belief systems, but it's like, I'm one of these people, like, you can believe what you want, but just don't force your beliefs onto me.
Black Center, you said something on some other show. I forgot where it was. You said you believe in you believe in Jesus Christ, but you just think he doesn't care about blacks.
Yeah, I said I believe in a higher power. I just think that higher power has no interest in black people whatsoever. I think that higher power doesn't give. I believe that higher power doesn't give a damn about black people, and because of that, we should have the same mentality. We should just say, you know what? Until God scratches our back and blesses us like he blessed the Arab, the whites, the Asians, then I'll worship you, God. But until you start scratching our back, you're not getting fucking worshipped by me. That's my mentality when it comes to religion and when it comes to God. If God scratches my back, I'll scratch God's back. If God blesses us, I'll be more than happy to worship God. But I'm not going to worship a God that's blessing the Arab with oil, that's blessing the whites with their supremacy, and blessing all these other races of people, but not us. Fuck that. You're not getting my fucking worship. You're not getting it one fucking inch. Go fuck yourself, God, if that's the case. That's my mentality when it comes to God and the whole bullshit.
So you don't believe in Jesus Christ, Mother Lakshmi, or the Prophet Muhammad? None of that?
Well, no, I mean, I believe in them to a certain extent. I just don't care about them because they're not helping us out. Like, again, I believe that there's a God. I believe there's a higher power up there, and I believe that. I just don't give a fuck about him because he's not scratching my fucking back. That's all. Once God scratches the back of black people, I'll be more than happy to worship that God. Until that happens, that God can go fuck himself.
That's messed up.
I know.
Damn.
I know it is. I'm not gonna lie, it's fucked up to think like that. But I just, like I said, I mean, I look around the world and I see the history of the world, and I say, okay, if there's a God, then truly this God does not like black people either, and that's fine. I don't need God to like black people. I can do it myself. I can live my life. I can survive. I can do what I need to do to make it where I need to make it. I don't need a God to pray to in order for that to happen. But if that guy starts scratching the backs of black people, starts blessing us with this and that and all this other shit, then okay, cool. I can get on my knees and pray to that God, but that guy hasn't done shit for us, dude. In our entire history, we are at the bottom of the fucking totem pole, everything,
So do you
I
consider yourself an atheist?
No, I just said I believe there's a higher power. An atheist doesn't believe there's any of that.
Okay, so do you feel like God created the universe?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're more
so,
since you believe that, then you're a deist. You just believe, like, a deist is someone who believe, God created the universe, but you don't feel like God has a hand in what we do. Like, we just on our own.
No. I believe God does have a hand. I just believe that hand doesn't give a fuck about black people.
Okay.
That's it. As black people, we gotta be like, you know what? God doesn't care about us, and that's okay. That's fine. Who cares? We're still living. We're still here. We're still surviving. We don't need God.
Right.
But we use God as a crutch in order to deal with this fucked up system.
I mean, for some people, religion is a form of escapism for them. They turn to religion for sense of comfort when they're going through problems and shit. They turn to religion. I mean, I have no issue with that. I mean, whatever gets you through the day. Yep.
But yeah, I just wanted to say, there's no such thing as white supremacy, and the white man is good.
The white man's good.
Yes, the white man is good, and you guys can all get that point.
Well, you
I
know,
would argue that.
I mean, I don't have
argue that.
nothing. I mean, I have nothing against white people. I mean, I have more so against ignorance, like regardless of fucking race. Like, I just can't stand ignorant people who stereotype other people instead of getting to know that said person. I just can't stand ignorance. Because, like I said, I don't think all white people are bad. Because, like I said, I dealt with both. Like, I dealt with cool as white people, and I also dealt with racist ones. Like, I mean, people are people at the end of the day. Like, there's ignorant people of all races, you know?
Yeah, I gotta reset my computer. It's bugging out for some reason, so I'm gonna drop off. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yeah, I hear you.
Okay.
So yeah, so like, what do you think as a I was gonna ask you something else. Yeah, but like, I'm serious. Ron says religion exists to exploit people's fear of death. The smart ones are the preachers and the sheep are the followers. Yeah, I mean, people, yeah, I agree that religion caused division, but like, I mean, at the same time, I do somewhat like get why some people may turn to that if that gives them a sense of comfort. So it's like one of them things, like if you feel religion gives you a sense of hope and you feel like it gets you through the day, I mean, hey, you can fuck with it, but just don't force your beliefs onto other people. Ron, do you consider yourself an atheist? Like, what are your beliefs? Like, what are your views on religion? If you're still in the chat. Yeah, Ron, they just want to turn to things when they have questions, like when they feel like they need answers, they turn to religion. And it's just some things in life you're never gonna fully get answers to. But some people, you know, they need answers on life. Like they need religion to get them through the day. Like some people feel like if they didn't have religion, they will be empty And it's like one of them things, like when a person needs religion, I mean, what can you tell them? You say you're agnostic. Okay. Yeah, for me, like, I just not affiliate with any religion. I just live my life. Like I said, I grew up in a Christian background, but I had questions or whatever, and I haven't been to church in a while. Hi, Randy.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
So you're talking about religion?
Yeah, I got to that conversation.
I kind of believe in it, and I kind of don't. Like I said on the past live stream that we talked about religion on, like I'm neutral with it because I don't really agree with the religion, but I still believe in God and stuff.
Yeah.
But some people, they follow religion out of fear and stuff. Like they follow religion because of the unknown and stuff. Because I'm not gonna lie, sometimes life can be scary, especially when you get older and stuff. Like you starting to get old, and then you starting to think like, dang, maybe this is true. You know, what's after? You know, so some people follow religion based on that too.
Yeah. Yeah, like for me, I wouldn't even like consider myself an atheist. I'm just not like affiliated with any particular religion. I just live my life, really.
Yep. Because I told my friend like we talk about this stuff like 3 times a week and stuff. Like me and my homeboy, like we on the phone for like hours talking about all different stuffs like religion, women, pro blackness, the system, everything. But and I just tell my friend like I don't believe in religion and stuff. He's religious, but I'm not. But I used to be Seventh-day Adventist and stuff, and then I used to be Baptist. And I told my friend like I just want to follow God and stuff. I don't want to be no religious person because I just feel like religion is all a scam and stuff. Like it's all about money. That's what I thought about religion, and that's what I think about it.
Yeah, that's what it seems like nowadays. Like it's just all about
Yeah,
money.
because they take like 12 offerings like every Sunday and stuff. Like, how many offerings do you guys need and stuff? Like, that's what I hate about church and stuff and religion. Like, it's all about money and stuff and control and stuff. It's just like too much, you know?
Yeah, like certain aspects of it has turned me off. And on top of that, I had questions.
Me too, like as a kid and stuff.
I was taught to the point I read the whole Bible for myself. And I just had questions, and I just like stopped going to church.
I read the Bible like several times. Like the Bible has 1,200 pages in it, and I read the Bible, but some things in the Bible I don't agree with. Most of the stuff I do agree with, like when the Bible says no homosexuality and stuff like that. I agree with that and stuff, but most of the other stuff I don't agree with.
And there's like even scriptures that didn't make the cut. Like it's so many it's so many like so it's like how can you like I don't like when it comes to the Bible, I don't really like take a lot of it as I don't take it as what's the best way to say it? I don't take it like literal, if that makes any sense. Because
yes,
like
it does.
stories, I'm like, can I? You know, in real life, that could never happen. Like the whole Noah, even the whole Noah story.
Then the Bible says
it's so impossible to take in all animals in every continent and put them in one boat. That's so impossible.
It is. That's facts.
Like it's just a lot of shit that's so far fetched to be that can actually happen in real life. Like like a talking snake. Like you actually believe a snake
I don't believe that.
you believe a snake actually convinced Eve and Adam to eat from the tree of knowledge. Like a snake was like a talking snake was actually talking. Like to me, these stories are just myths. It's supposed to be like a teaching moment.
Yeah, because I was telling my friend like a lot of stuff it didn't make sense in the Bible, and the Bible also says that a lot of people like back in the early beginning lived for thousands of years and stuff. That's not possible. I never knew anybody that lived thousands of years and stuff. Like it didn't make sense to me.
No, it's just myths to me. Like I don't take a lot of the scriptures that I read as literal.
I mean, but I still like believe in the Bible and stuff. Like I'm not perfect. Like no one's perfect. Like I do have my ways and stuff. And you know, like the Bible. Like sometimes I go to the Bible to try to be a better person and stuff. Because me, I'm very impatient and I'm not perfect patient. Like so, like the Bible kind of helps me with like growing as a person and stuff.
Right. Yep.
Hello?
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. So yeah, do you believe in when you think about other religions outside of Christianity?
I believe like it's the personal choice and stuff. I believe those are also made up too, because a lot of those other religions are man-made too. Because you have Buddhists and Muslim and all these other religions and stuff. It was man-made and stuff. It's all the same to me. Like religion doesn't make sense to me. I don't care what religion it is. It's all about control and stuff. And what I felt about religion is it's trapping you and stuff. Like when you follow a religion, you're trapping your soul and stuff. Like it's keeping you away from God and stuff. Like it's putting a third party in the way of you and the creator and stuff. That's what I feel about religion. I don't think it's good. Religion's like brainwashing. It's dangerous, you know? People do crazy things out of religion and stuff. Like it's not good.
Yeah, especially if it's extreme case, like a lot people will kill for religion.
Yeah, remember that story like I told you about my mom and stuff? Like she almost killed me and my siblings in the 80s. She was little off of religion. She got tricked by Christianity off a fake pastor, and she almost drowned us and stuff. And she's about to like put us in like an oven and a bathtub. Like she just went completely crazy. She ended up like in a psych ward for like 6 months. That's the reason why I left religion back in the early 90s and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm too smart for someone to brainwash me like that. That's not me. Go ahead.
Yeah, like some religions can traumatize a person, you know.
Facts.
Yeah.
And I wanted to like go back to like earlier, like when I lost my cool and stuff. I like to apologize because I'm like that. Like I'm a fiery person. Like I'm like this with everybody, even family members. I'm just a very fiery person, emotional person. So yeah. I wanted to say like, you know what I'm saying? White supremacy, it does exist because racial profiling does exist. Black people get racially profiled. Black people get discriminated against when it comes to employment, and black people go through a lot in America and stuff. The system is not for us. And to answer that question earlier, when guy was like, do white cops get away with it? In my eyes and in other black people's eyes, they do, because they only get a limited of time when they do get caught. They only get like 3 years, 5
Yeah,
years,
because the
7, 15.
position that they're in. I mean, cops can get away with anything that a regular citizen couldn't,
Facts.
because of the position that they're in.
Because out here, like they had a cop out here, he was out here murdering women, raping women, and he got away with it and stuff. And they didn't find out like until he died and stuff. I was like, see, that's messed up. Cops do get away with it, even if they get a little bit of time and stuff. They still getting away with it because they haven't got punished to the full extent and stuff. They don't get life sentences. They don't get the death penalty. But it's very hypocritical, because if a person kills a cop, they're gonna get life in prison or the death penalty. But a cop can kill an unarmed black person and get out in 5 years on good behavior. That's wrong. That is getting away with it. So that's what I meant by that. I didn't mean literally like just getting away, like not getting charged. But to me, that's the same. That's what I meant earlier.
Right.
So that answers the question earlier about. I was too upset to answer that earlier. But that's all I wanted to say. Like, go ahead on with the show, Queen, and thank you for having me. And peace. I'm out.
All right, peace to you. Yeah, so my closing argument of this topic, I will say this. We are all part of the human race at the end of the fucking day, regardless of your racial background, ethnicity. We all bleed the same, and we all come from the human race at the end of the fucking day. And as far as race goes, it's really a social construct. Because if you look in the past, right, the Irish and Italians weren't seen as white. Like they were discriminated against at one point. And then it got to a point where they was like, you know what, we're going to accept these people as white. So the point I'm trying to convey is society changes all the fucking time with the rules they place on other people who they consider a part of this race and that race. That's why I say it's a social construct. It has no biological standing. It's just society making up rules as it goes along at the end of the fucking day. And on my end, I treat people how I want to be treated. I judge a person based off their character. I don't judge a whole group of people. I do go on my way to get to know the individual and not get caught up on their racial background. Like, I don't judge people based off of that. Like, I can see the difference. I can acknowledge a person's culture that's different than mine. But at the end of the day, I respect people. I try to understand where they're coming from. I go out of my way to learn about their culture, get to know that said person. Like, I'm not one of these people that's just ignorant as fuck and don't try to learn from other people. No, that's not how I am. And I expect others to do the same for me, to get to know me as a person and not judge me based off my race. Like, get to know me as a person, as an individual. So yeah, just want to touch on that topic since I was supposed to do that on my show. I was supposed to have last week. So yeah, you all have a good night. Until next time. Peace.